You can hear it in the street, see it in a dragging beat. The word is getting out about control. Spots it come and go, story travels on. The only quiet place is inside your soul. From tree to tree, from you to me, traveling twice as fast as on any freeway.
Okay. How great is that sound to play?
It's great because it feeds me and then I feed it. It's like a circle. And the thing you were just talking about, it's full of surprises, but it's reliable because it's totally synced to the track.
Right.
But you get all these surprises. I'm going to talk about that for a second because I can play something and it turns out totally different than what I expected.
Yeah. And that's when it's like playing with a band too, when they deliver the drummer or something that delivers surprises and it takes you somewhere, right? And what Tim is saying is like the predictability is important because it stays in rhythm. You can kind of get your head going to it. But the random part is it's sending voltage to the filter in a random kind of way, and you don't know if it's going to be on the downbeat or the upbeat or where. You can have a couple of low ones, and all of a sudden you get some accents that aren't the way, like the example might be a wah pedal. That's a little bit more predictable for the user, right? Like as a listener, you're like, oh, that's cool. It's following the music. This is a little bit different, and I think it changes, because you're not playing the same pattern. Right?
No, and certain things pop and certain things don't, and you don't know what is going to happen. So it's pretty delightful to actually see what pops.
Well, that's great to hear, and that's like man not versus machine, but man like with machine feel.
Yeah.
But not machine where it's just so rigid, right?
Well, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but one of the most satisfying things about this sound is when I just hit the string.
Yeah, kind of a talking string.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sustain a chord. You just can't stop.
Vowels, endless vowels.
Right. Well, when you like strike a guitar string, it's going to decay. It doesn't create further rhythms.
Right.
And you're getting that, but the rhythms are created from timbre. They're timbrally generated rhythms, right? As if you were striking the string again.
See, when I do this, it reminds me of Life's Been Good to Me So Far by Joe Walsh,
Oh, very much so. Now, there's another guitar player that experimented a little.
Yeah,
and
early days, too.
Yeah, and didn't lose himself. He actually was very much himself in the sound, because Tim and I were discussing, I wanted to know, like, in terms of your personality, how do you feel? Do you feel like what are you giving up and what are you gaining?
Well, this is a great motor and a great pocket and a great part to inspire an entire track. And then you would simply be the other guy and play the regular guitar part, and the two would run counterpoint together, So, yeah, it's just, you get to be two people. Pretty cool.
Well, I wanted to know, and a lot of synthesizers were designed for processing. The ARP 2600 was especially designed for processing. Can you guys see the MS-20 in the shot? So the MS-20 over here has a whole processor section right here for processing outside sounds. And synthesizer designers were thinking, oh, well, for sure people are going to want to process vocals and guitars, but it really wasn't done too much. We were trying to think of how many people, really went there, and Pete Townshend really thrived there.
He did.
He liked processing things, and just why he did it, we think, but we know what it did to us when we first heard it, right? Right. What Tim was telling me is that it inspired him. It caught his ear, and it inspired him, and it made him listen to the music, and it didn't lose its its voice. And that's always the thing I wonder about when you process anything, even like extensive use of auto-tune or reverb or delays, right? All of this stuff. What do you gain and what do you lose, like in terms of your personality? And then, that's why we have unplugged music, because, and then we've tried to find the sort of the Zen place to be where we can plate something in a really interesting way, but not lose the food or not put too much sauce on it, right?
Yeah, you don't want to use something too much. Like a great example would be the talk box. You hear a talk box on a couple of songs in the history of rock, and it's fantastic, but you don't want to do it all the time. And this is something that, on Who Are You and on this, it's a great idea, and the best rock is a simple, great idea. And that's what this creates, and it's a motor that, in this particular situation, it's very R&B and very funk related. You can tell that Townshend really was a fan of American funk and R&B. And he kept doing it. I think in later years, he probably just did it with keyboards, because he would probably just sit and do it. But in the early years, he was doing it on his guitar through one of these.
Yeah. Well, he did do it on like an organ. He would process it kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But I respect it a lot, because like to just play, like to be sort of delving into the blues and R&B and try to do it exactly like the people before you, it's really hard to do it even close to good or better, So he's putting his own signature or take on it, which I think is great. And then we explore it, and it evolves in music, and then people can take it from there. And we've done that now, like in EDM, we've taken these sounds and processed the daylights out of them. And, I think in these moments where we recreate things, it's a good time to take a look at it and ask the questions, We don't have to ask the questions when we're creating music, because you just want to go there and then find out after.
Keep the momentum, stay in the moment, and ask the questions later. The great thing about this sound is it's touch sensitive. So it's almost like playing a drum. It squawks differently depending on how hard you hit it.
Yeah.
And the only way I can describe it, it's like every vowel sound. It's not only every vowel sound, it's like sounds in between the vowel sounds,
Yeah. I'm making it squawk more.
Become a drummer.
Yeah, we are creating like amplitude changes in the way you play and timbre changes, in addition to the sample and hold random voltages going to the filter. You're getting all of that. And we could break it down and talk about, different ways of doing it. Should we break it down?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what's going on.
Please.
Tim's signal is coming in, it's pretty much straight, right? Your guitar.
Yeah, straight.
So the distortion you're hearing is just the preamp in the synthesizer. And you can really drive this preamp pretty hard if you want to. And I'll just let you hear what it sounds like, just straight across without any effect. It's just like...
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you can drive it not as hard. Or a little bit.
Good sound.
Kind of like an overdrive.
Yeah.
And I can turn the knob and...
Hear all the notes?
Now I'll turn it up as you play. Now we're gonna go, keep playing. I went from about 7 to 11.
Yeah, you want to make music.
Yeah, so you can see like guitar processing through a synthesizer can be as simple as using a synthesizer preamp, which is kind of overlooked. It's basically a simple little transistor.
It's very pleasing. It's musical.
Yeah, oh yeah. Extremely. It's like, remember Pig Nose?
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of like that?
Way better than
Way better. Well, this is
it's okay,
designed by an artist, Alan R. Perlman and... You're addicted.
Yeah. You just want to play and play and play. That's what's great.
Yeah, and you love this pre.
I do. I love it.
It's a great preamp.
Pretty expensive pre.
It's very well. It's not really. I mean, just the component is not.
Yeah.
And this is just processing audio signal. Like I was mentioning to Tim, I use the preamp to process and distort control paths, like LFOs, vibrato, simple vibrato on a synthesizer. Instead of just taking that sine wave and having it control an oscillator's pitch, distort the LFO and then have it control the oscillator's pitch and see what that sine wave. You'll hear the shape of it. And you'll really mangle the shape, but you come up with all these really musical shapes that don't really exist. They're distortions, mutations, and in real time, you get the surprises. I'm super excited to let you know that I have a Patreon where you can get exclusive videos and interactive live streams. So click the link in the description for more information, and let's get back to the video. So that's where we started, distorting the sound. And the reason I distorted the sound is to give the filter more to grab onto, more harmonics, more richness, right? That's why guitarists like to distort. And also like a little more sustain, right? Okay, so we take that and we run that output into a mult. So I'm just gonna make more than one of it. So one of them is gonna go into the filter, voltage controlled low pass filter with resonance. I'm gonna open the filter a little bit so the sound passes through. So just play for a second right there. Right? It barely passes through. Here's full pass through. Now nothing's happening. I just have a wide open filter with resonance. There's no resonance. So what does resonance do? It's going to act like a high pass filter, right? It's going to remove some of the lower frequencies because it's emphasizing the higher frequencies. Now I'm going to drive that filter down so that it's kind of closed. Then giving Tim some expression. How do I do that? The output of the preamp goes to an envelope follower, which converts his amplitude to voltage. That voltage opens and closes the filter. So the harder he hits it, the little bit more brightness he gets. And I can control that. And then the second step is going to be a clock coming from the click that's going to step a sample and hold generator. Now, not everyone knows what a sample and hold generator is, right? It sounds like a very synthesizer-y term. But it does what it says. It samples and it holds. So you choose something for it to sample. In this case, we're choosing noise. Noise is all frequencies at once. So if we have something that's just making all frequencies at once, and then we hold at a given moment, we grab it, and now we hold it, we've just come up with a frequency. We pulled it out. That frequency is going to make the filter open to that voltage. And then all these frequencies again, that clock's going to grab something again and hold it. Now we got a lower frequency. The filter's going to go down. So this is happening every click, right? But even better, every 16th note. So 4 times per click, we're getting a different voltage to the filter. So again, Tim, just
great explanation.
Strike it. Strike a note. You hear the 16 notes? One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what he gets. That's like your backdrop that you get to play against, right? This modulating filter in time with the track. It's resonant, so it kind of talks. It's got some high pass filtering going on because there's a lot of resonance, so it's emphasizing the higher frequencies over the lower frequencies. And we have a little bit of envelope follower that's going to give the filter his expression.
Got it.
And the last step is I'm going to take that same envelope follower and apply it to the VCA, voltage controlled amplifier, VCA, so it's amplitude. So that means when Tim plays a little louder, we're going to get a little bit of volume too. There you go. Nice down low.
Well, yeah, and he shifted to down low for the verse, which you would do. You know, the intro's up here. And Roger comes in singing, he goes,
So he's still thinking arranging, like orchestration.
Yeah.
It's orchestration to get it out of the vocal range.
yeah. And then for the chords, you just have to hit the chords and let it roll. Then improvise.
Now, it doesn't get in the way of the line, does it?
No. It all works.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And he is doing that. Some of it disappears, but he's playing freely.
What a wonderful sound. And it really, like, your musical nature, that's your line. That's still your line.
Yeah. But it also is always a good choice just to go. And play the simplest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like, especially for bass notes.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Beethoven and it's just, you know, that's it.
Yeah, you have to do both. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do both. But the idea is if you're always doing movement, then it doesn't sound like movement anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, movement sounds like movement against stillness. It's more of an effect, right? And that's why, like, people say less is more. That doesn't make any sense. But what it's a metaphor for, like, you notice less when that's basically it. You notice less. Like if you go into a room full of people and you stand there and you don't say anything, and the audience will notice themselves and they'll start to get quiet, which is sometimes better than yelling, you know, people, I'm trying to talk right now, you know. We notice the space, the rest.
Yeah. I've always thought the most powerful thing an artist can do, or a band, is play really softly. It draws the audience in. And if you have dynamics the whole time. And what I try and tell people when they are improvising, be able to do the opposite. If you play something pretty, play something ugly. If you play something slow, play something fast. You play something simple, play something complex. Be able to dance between the opposites, which is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're right, the silence is always something that draws people to you and an audience into you.
Yeah, you create like the white, like the artist draws on like the white palette, right? You create it when you leave space. Like now you have a little bit of white space and then you can put the color back on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just have color all the time. And so the point of all this, you know, art talk, I think, is how it's used, because it's not just, he just doesn't blast the thing all the way through the whole song. Like you mentioned, he goes down an octave when the vocals come in. And
he gets smaller and lower, and he leaves space for everything else.
Yeah.
And then at this moment where he plays the fill, he's just back in full.
Yes. And how many of you notice this is like one of the ultimate ironies when you want to get like a really strong fortissimo, like a big solid sound. Sometimes it's not about just hitting it as hard as possible, because you don't draw the tone out as much.
That's true.
If you
That's a
turn
very
up
good
the
point.
volume and you play with a little bit of nuance to it, you actually can get a more powerful hit on, like that's true of timpanis, I'm sure on guitars, on the
Totally
piano.
on guitar. If you hit it like a butterfly and then you amplify it like crazy, the bloom is huge. You just touch it like a butterfly wing, and you have it as loud as it can possibly be. It is a much bigger tone than if you hit it
Much
hard.
bigger.
Yeah.
So if Tim played this sound full volume all the time, the nuances of the envelope
just
follower
shuts down. Yeah.
you're maxed out.
Yeah.
So the irony is like you got to come down so that you can allow for the peaks, right? And then that's true when we mix too. Like, because I know I'm the worst. I want it.
Yeah.
You know, I want it loud, but it's not really. It's not louder. Okay, so what are we missing? So one little subtle thing is I mentioned noise. Like, is this random source? So I'm choosing pink noise. Why? Because there's a little bit less high frequencies in there, and so the filter's not going to go as wacko. It's less range of random, right?
Okay.
So I'm limiting the range of the random. So when you go ahead and play, and let's see if we can hear that difference. Hold a note like. All right, now I'm going to go white noise. You hear those fuzzy notes?
Yeah.
When I bring it down to pink noise,
Softer.
which is giving you a little more control because I'm leaving room for the envelope follower when you hit hard to give those buzzy notes. So you're gaining control of the buzzy notes,
Yeah.
and all the middle stuff is kind of on autopilot. Nice.
Yeah.
Let's change the rhythm up.
Inspiring. Ooh, that's nice. That's the sound on Life's Been Good to Me So Far. Way to go, that was fun.
Experimenting, which I highly recommend, right? You
Yeah.
can capture it nowadays, and if not, you've explored a lot of things and you've discovered what knobs do, and, maybe you'll find something in there, But studying these things, I think there's a lot to be gained, and we talked about it. We're kind of like imagining what somebody would be thinking, when they're making these songs, but probably they were just doing it. And that's what I encourage all of us to do, and that's what we were just doing. We were just flying. It's one of the joys of music, and hopefully we all still play, just sometimes it's just fun to just play.
Especially when that thing's going.
Well, with
I'm
someone,
the proof, yeah.
with someone,
Yeah.
it's great to have
Yeah.
you here
Yeah.
and to have somebody to bounce off of and bring the
Always.
guitar into the picture and
Yeah.
show that these instruments can kind of all work together, and really looking forward to what all of you come up with. Let's hear it. Get in there and try some new things. Bring instruments. There's a lot of processing possibilities. I think it's so untapped for creating music. So please remember to like and subscribe to this channel, Anthony Marinelli Music. It means a lot to us. We read your comments, and we love, being there every week. Thanks for joining the premieres too. That's always a lot of fun. We get on the chat. Also, Think Like a Synth. That's the course. Check it out. It's my method that I used, and hopefully you can apply that to what you're doing today and make the sounds that you want and adjust the presets that you like to fit your music, because it's really important to be somewhat original and to use things as a starting place, but just make it yours. Put a little, dial it up. And of course, thank you, Tim, for being here on this one. Check out Tim Pierce. He's kind of a mentor to me. I love his channel. There's such great guitar stuff there. Tim's the best guitar teacher. He has a course, and you got to check out Tim Pierce on YouTube and his course.
That'd be great, and let's do more.
Oh, I'm here anytime.
Okay, all right.
I'll haul you in.
Okay.
Let's go. All right, well, thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Thanks.